Hey guys, what's going on? Cody from Matt Vapes Easily here, and I got a kind of a different video for you today. Let me move this down a little bit. Alright, so I got to get a little bit of a different video for you today. We have a lot of people that come in and ask us, like, you know, hey, I need a T8 coil, or, well, that's too direct. Normally they'll say, hey, I need a Baby Beast coil, and we're like, okay, which one? And they're like, what do you mean? And so then we have to explain them to you, but this is basically just going to be a video explaining what the different coils are and the reasons for them. So if you're familiar with this might be a video you want to skip. But if you're a newer vapor, this is definitely something that that you might want to know just for future reference. And so I'm going to be using the Prince coils today as an example, but it's pretty much like across the board. I'm not going to go over every single coil type, but it'll give you kind of a reference. So what I have here is the M4s, the X6s, the Q4s, and the T10s. So all of these coils are different in different kinds of ways. For example, we'll start with the T10s. They don't all, they all look different, except for like the Q2 or the Q4s and the M2 should look similar, but it has to do with resistance and everything like that. So these are the T10s. As you can see, there's only 5 coils in there, and somebody will be like, oh, that's not a T10, that's a T5. Well, actually, it's 2 coils basically paralleled, so it's 10. So there's like 2 coils in each one of those holes, and that's what makes it a T10. But the big deal with these, they are a 0.12 ohm, so they'll fire between 60 and 120 watts, and they're best between 80 and 110. So that's the T10s. The Q4s is what we'll do next. The Q4 is a pretty popular coil across the board for any one of the TF devices. So if you look down the center there, single coil. But it is paralleled. That's why they call it the... Actually, it might be... No, it's just paralleled. So, so that means there's 2 pieces of wire that are wrapped circular around it. So the big deal with the Q4s, they're 0.4 ohms. That's why they're called Q4. And they'll fire between 40 and 100 watts, and they're best between 60 and 80. So the difference between these and those is a little bit of wattage. You're definitely going to be able to run higher wattage off of the T10s versus the Q4s. So the next one I've got here is the X6s. So the X6, Phantom, why does 6 look like a panda? Has 2 coils in it. So it's actually 4. So basically the deal with this one is it's a 0.15 ohm. They are sextuple coils. Which doesn't really make oh, there's 3 pieces of wire in there. Whoa, they're triple paralleled. My bad. So yeah, there is 3 pieces of wire in there, so 6 coils in total. That's why they call it the X6. But they are 0.15 ohm. These are best between 50 and 120, or they're 50 to 120, and they're best between 80 and 100. So actually, the X6s will do about 10 watts higher. Well, yeah. No, they're even with the T10s. My bad. This video is not going the way I planned it to. But another example though, like depending on what coil you get and what wattage you vape at, that's really what matters. So like if somebody comes in and, you know, they're like, hey, I need a Baby Beast coil, and I'm like, oh, which one? And they're like, I don't know, I just normally get whatever. So my first question will be, well, what wattage do you vape at? And so depending on what wattage they vape at, I'll generally try to recommend them the coil that, like, let's say they vape at 80, or no, let's say like 65 or 70. I'll normally recommend the Q2 because it's best between like 60 and 80. So that's like a perfect medium ground where they can go up a little bit or they can go down a little bit and they don't have to worry about burning it out as fast. The last coils here are the M4s. So the M4s recently came about for the stick style devices like the Prince stick or the X4 stick, or the V8X baby stick, or the V8 stick, anything that's just a single battery, not adjustable as far as wattage. Now, you could run these between 30 and 70 on like a regular mod. They're best between 40 and 60, and they're 0.17 ohms, but to be honest with you, and so if you look at this, they're smaller than the Q4s. Let me show you what I mean. So it's kind of hard to tell unless you look at them side by side, but see how you can see cotton here, and then here you've got those metal pieces coming around. So So that's how you can tell the difference if you were just kind of looking down on it and you didn't like read the sides or anything. But pretty much, like I said, these are the ones for like the stick style devices. But that's really a short, like, I mean, it's 5 minutes. I could probably take about 25 or 30 and explain every single coil style to you. But this is just a quick reference guide for anybody that's looking for a particular coil. Definitely, if you go into a vape shop, any vape shop, you don't have to know what you're looking for. That's why you're at a vape shop, to get your questions answered. And any shop that makes you feel like you're an idiot, I wouldn't be in personally. It actually kind of, it's a lot of the reason I started shopping here, because the shop I went into, I was brand new, still smoking cigarettes, and I walked in there and I was like, "Hey guys," and they're like, "Hey," and I was like, "What's going on? You know, I want to try vaping," and they're like, "Oh, so you've never vaped before?" And I was like, "No." And so they started explaining all this stuff to me, and I was like, "Well, what does that mean? And what does that mean?" You know, and I wouldn't say that I'm generally an annoying person when I go and, you know, like shop, because I pretty much know what I want. But when it comes to something that I don't know what I want, I tend to ask questions about it. I'm a big person that I will literally watch 6,000 YouTube videos and like 600 other things about it before I'll make a purchase, and that's just how I am. But I'm rambling about all kinds of stuff right now. But, you know, it shouldn't be something where this is turned into like a two-part video. Like, a part, here's your coils, and two, don't make people feel, or don't let people make you feel like an idiot. But regardless, like, you don't have to know what you want when you come in. Like, just ask us. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why they pay me the big dollars. But overall, this is more of just a reference for you. So, like, let's say you're a higher wattage person, go with the T10s. Or you're a lower wattage person, I would do the Q4s. Or the X4s give you a little bit of both. You could run a little bit lower, or run a little bit medium, or run a little bit hot. And then the M4s are definitely your lower wattage coils. But to be honest with you, somebody starting out probably wouldn't have a TFV12 Prince anyways, unless they bought one of the Prince sticks as a starter kit. But before rambling anymore, that's really what I have for you. If you have any questions about this or anything else for that matter, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and be sure to get back to you, alright? Peace.